Let's talk about Rovo Connectors, what they are, why they're important to you, and how to set them up. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and let's jump in. Rovo Connectors centralize your knowledge sources with Rovo. And basically what this means is that there's a lot of companies out there, specifically SaaS products. And some of the examples that are available are like Adobe XD, Aha, Airtable, Azure DevOps, and even some Atlassian ones like Bitbucket, Compass, and even competition like ClickUp, right? And so there's a lot of different SaaSes out there that your company is most likely using in one way, shape, or another. And so the power of the Rovo connector is, as the name implies, it connects Rovo with that data. So we all know that when you're using Rovo, it's really good at indexing and understanding your Atlassian data. So it knows the work items that you have in Jira, it knows the Confluence pages that you have in Confluence. But with the Rovo connectors, Rovo then gets insights, or at least extra information, as to what's happening in DocuSign, what's going on in Dropbox. It can understand your Figma designs. And so this is powerful because when you're talking to Rovo and you're asking it, hey, what Figma design is relevant to this bug? And well, it can go and talk to that Figma design because it has the connection to Figma through the power of AI, and it can go and grab that information and it just becomes part of the knowledge base. And so you are essentially helping make Rovo more and more powerful by adding more and more connectors. And so it can read your emails from your Outlook, it can read emails from your Gmail, it can do your calendar, it can bring in your customers from HubSpot, it can bring in your videos from Loom, your Microsoft Teams conversations, your Miro designs, your OneDrive documents. Again, here's Outlook again, ServiceNow, it's got Stripe, it's got Slack, Trello, right? WebEx. So there's a lot of different connectors out there that essentially allow you to expand the power of Rovo. Now, why is this important? Why should you care? When you go and ask Rovo a question, I'm working on Project X and I need to put together a presentation for my executive team talking about different risks that are essentially need to be known for this particular project. Well, when you do that and you don't have any connectors, the information that Rovo can go and grab to build this report is whatever's in Jira and Confluence. However, if you had emails, right, that are going back and forth, if you've had meetings, maybe there's a Slack channel with some information about this project, well, all of that is blinded, right? It's not visible and not available to Rovo, so it cannot use any of that information to build this report. And so it's not possible to connect the dots so that Rovo doesn't have the insights of a conversation that happened 2 weeks ago that is potentially bottlenecking you today, and you need to know and put that in your report. You'd have to go search for that information yourself. But when you do connect Rovo with all these other SaaS tools that your company is already using, well, then all that information is just now available to Rovo. So Rovo can then go and connect the dots for you. And trust me, machines and AI are much, much more smarter and sophisticated than we are. And so they're going to be able to do and connect all those dots and put everything together so that you can ultimately have the best report with the best information. And it's not like made up or hallucinated. It's the actual information that is just nested deep in these other third-party tools that your company is using. You just normally don't have access or even remember that they're there. Folks, I want to take a little second here to tell you a quick story that happened to me last week. I was working with the team. They were working on a Word document and everybody was collaborating in Confluence. And so naturally we uploaded the file to Confluence, expecting to edit the file straight from Confluence. But no. While I was able to attach the file, I was able to view the file, I couldn't edit the file at all. No editing of Excel, no editing of Word, no editing of PowerPoint, which is a huge pain in the butt if your company is using Office and Confluence and you expect to collaborate together. And so this created a versioning nightmare because every time we wanted to make any changes, we had to download the file, make the change, re-upload the file. Rinse and repeat for every single little change. Not fun for anybody. But then I found EcoTeam's Office for Confluence. And let me tell you, night and day, folks, everything changed. We were able to immediately be able to upload our Office attachments. So all of our Word documents, PowerPoint, Excel documents, all could be inside of Confluence. So now they live and breathe inside of Confluence. And the best part, you ready? We can edit them inside of Confluence. No extra licensing required from the Microsoft perspective. Anybody who had permissions inside of Confluence could automatically just edit, and it just saved so much time because we didn't have to download anything anymore. and the team can just simply edit the files. So if you've been struggling with trying to edit your Office files inside of Confluence, make sure you check out that link down below to start your free trial to Office for Confluence by EcoTeam. Now back to the video. And so that's what the Rovo connectors are going to enable us. And so as you can see, there's a lot of different connectors available. And so now that you know what it is and why it's important, let's go talk about how to actually get these configured. So you're going to want to go over to your Jira, and you do need to be a Jira administrator. You need to be like a site and org admin. You need to be able to get to admin.atlassian.com. So most likely a site or org admin administrator. On the left-hand side, you're going to see apps and Rovo. You would think that this would be under Rovo because we're connecting Rovo, but no, this is going to be under apps, and you're going to go to connectors. And once here, you're going to see a list of any connectors that have already been connected. Maybe you have a different org admin or a different site admin that might have already connected stuff, but in whatever case that may be, you just simply click on add connector on the right hand side, and then you're going to see a list of all the connectors that we just talked about. You simply click on an app that you want to connect. You're going to click on next. And then you're going to essentially read through this very important information that describes what you're getting yourself into. And then you're going to get yourself some additional informations and some terms of agreements that you're basically agreeing with Atlassian. Read through these. This, I think, is the biggest problem area. I think this is where most people are going to be hesitant, most organizations, I think. And I think this is where Atlassian needs to drastically improve their level of comfort with customers, right? Because when you're connecting, you're essentially bridging two systems together, and you have access that can now basically move between the two systems. And from an organizational perspective, that's a really scary thing, right? From a cybersecurity, from a governance, from a compliance perspective, those are very scary things. And I suspect that not a lot of people, not a lot of companies are going to be like, let's do it, right? Let's open ourselves up to vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So Atlassian, I think, has to definitely be making more headway in the marketing and the PR of these connectors, because I think it's a little scary. Now, I don't have a whole lot of information in here, and so I'm just going to basically follow the steps here. You do need to install the GitHub app for Atlassian. You need to configure the app so it's configured, and then you need to basically go and update some permissions. So I'm going to click on connect, see if it lets me. You obviously give it a name. I couldn't do it because apparently I'm not a GitHub admin or something like that. So anyways, you basically just go through the steps, you hit connect, and once you do hit connect, you're going to be prompted to essentially log in. So you're most likely going to need to be an admin on the other side of the connection as well. And then once you establish the handshake, then the connector is going to work, and then you're going to be able to test it out, and Rovo should have access to that information. So that's pretty much it. I think the biggest hurdle here is that trust, right? Like the agreements of getting Jira and that other tool to basically work together. I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle that a lot of organizations have to jump through. Let me know in the comment section, where are you guys at with your connector journey? Is your company open to establishing these Rovo connectors, or are you guys a little bit more hesitant playing it safe and seeing where things land first? I would personally be playing it safe if I was like the CIO of an organization. But for a smaller company, innovation is going to allow you to accelerate and beat the competition. So if I was a smaller company, a smaller business, trust me when I tell you that Atlassian has done their due diligence. They wouldn't be creating these features if they were dangerous, right? And so if I'm a small company, maybe a 2, 3, 500-person company, I would be enabling these things, because especially if you're competing with a bigger company that has 10,000, 20,000 employees, you know they're going to move slow. They're going to move super slow. They're going to have like 6 months to review all these permissions and configurations. And so in that 6 months, because you enabled Rovo, the power that you get with Rovo and these connectors is just mind-blowing. And so you're just going to be able to leapfrog all the people that are like stuck in paperwork and bureaucracy. And so there's like the pros and cons, and a little bit of a, I guess, discovery you'll have to make to see if this is worth it for you or not. So anyways, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and share this with your CIOs, your colleagues, anybody who you think might benefit from this particular video. And I'll see you all in the next one.